Hi everyone, my name is Allie and I'm with Carthage College's Writing Center, and today I will be talking about MLA formatting and Carthage College's Writing Center's take on it. Okay, so what do I need to cite? Generally, MLA format, Modern Language Association, calls for 4 things to cite. One being quotations, so if you're writing a Western Heritage essay and you have to embed quotes or include quotes from the book, citing those. Also paraphrasing, taking someone else's ideas. For, let's say you're writing a research paper, taking someone else's ideas, you need to give them credit. Summary, a general idea that isn't common knowledge needs to be cited. Also facts, information, and data. Let's say you're writing a research paper and there's some data that you don't know that yourself and you got it from, let's say, a scholarly article on Google. You need to give credit and cite your source. Let's go, where's our, oh boy, where's the next slide? Okay. I don't know why this always does this to me. Okay. Not so common knowledge. So who decides what common knowledge is? Common knowledge means something that everyone knows. And if something isn't common, you will have to cite that. So in fields in which you're less familiar, you exercise caution. So let's say I'm writing an essay on religion. I don't know much about generally world religion, so I need to be careful because those aren't like general common knowledge themes, and I need to give credit to where it's taken from. The belief that an idea or fact may be common knowledge is no reason not to cite your source. So just because you think that, okay, most people know this, you still need to cite it because, you still need to cite it. You need to give credit to where the information is taken from. And if you are uncertain, ask your professor. They know, and this is like a fundamental rule. If you're thinking about it, when in doubt, cite. It's always good to, cover your bases and to have, things cited instead of not and running into trouble later down the road. Okay. I don't know why always, okay. Cite or not. So this is a little activity that usually we do in class visits. And it is cite or not, it's like a game, kind of. What the text is on the screen, is this something we should cite or not? So I'll read it aloud and you guys can think, and then we'll decide whether it's something to cite. The Buddhist religion is based on the life and teachings of Buddha and is composed of many sects. Is that something you should cite or not? So I'll give you guys a couple seconds to think about it. Okay, personally, I would say yes, this is something we should cite. It is a general, idea. It generally isn't common knowledge. It's not like everyday thing. And it's something that I don't know, and it's an idea or a summary of the Buddhist religion, and it needs to be given credit to that author, where I got this information from. Very important. Okay. Hang with me. Okay. You skipped a couple slides. Okay. Cite or not. Praying is a major component of many different religions. Cite or not. This one, I would say you don't have to cite it. Generally, people know that praying is a common knowledge when it comes to religion, and it's not specific, it's not really factual, and it would be considered common knowledge. So in this case, you wouldn't have to cite it. Next one, cite or not. According to Muslim tradition, one must pray 5 times a day facing Mecca. In most sects of Islam, men must cover their bodies from the navel to the knee, while women must cover the whole body except for the face and hands. Is this something we should cite? Me, I would say definitely yes. These are a lot of facts that someone who has studied the Muslim religion, Islam religion, has studied. Please don't mind my dog barking in the background. But yes, this is factual. This is something that most people don't know, and this is something where we need to give credit to the author of whoever researched this. So basic formatting rules of MLA. You want your paper, you want your essay to be double spaced. New Times Roman font, 12-point font, 1-inch margins. Usually that's what Google Docs or Word gives you already. And you would want the last name, your last name, and the page number of every page in the upper right-hand corner. Those are the general basic formatting rules. When it comes to in-text citations, so writing a sentence and integrating a quote in that sentence, it allows the reader to find the source, because at the end of the sentence that you integrate the quote in, you'll need to put the author's last name and the page of whatever information you got that from. So let's say it's an article, and on page 6 from author Dan Smith, you would write parentheses Smith 6 and a period outside of that at the end of the sentence. So that's kind of how in-text citations go. So here's another little game. Can you find any errors of what we just talked about? So you have an end of the sentence, and then you have Adam Smith, page 6. Are there any errors with this? Give you guys a couple seconds to think about it, and we can figure out, okay, what is wrong with this and how can we make it better? Okay, so Adam Smith, we just want the author's last name, not the first name. And we don't need the PG, we don't need that page. And also the period at the end of the sentence, we want to put that after the parentheses to actually end even the citation. So those are the errors in this one. Let's look at the next one. Hold on, bear with me. I don't know why this acts up. Okay, here's another one. End of sentence, Smith 6. Is there any errors with this one, or is this something that we want? Cut to the chase, this is what we want. We have the author's last name in parentheses after the end of the sentence, the page number. I forgot to mention, we don't want a comma. You could just put the number. And then close parentheses and put a period at the end of the very in-text citation. This is what we're looking for when it comes to MLA formatting and in-text citations. Okay, so common question, what if there is more than one author? What do we do? There's 2 authors. You'll put the last name of the first one, the last name of the second one, with the word and in between, and then the page number. So an example, Smith and Doe 6. So that's if there's 2 authors. Let's say you're reading a scholarly article about psychology, that's what you would do. If there's 3 or more authors, you'll do the first author's last name, and then you'll put ETAL period, and then the page number. So that kind of alludes that there are more than one author. In this case, 3 or more. All right, hang with me. Okay. What if there is no author? That's a good question. If there is no author, use the abbreviated version of the title. So you could put the title in parentheses and then the page number. So abbreviated version, you don't have to put the whole title, but you could just put the first word of it. That would be the abbreviated version of it. What if there are 2 authors with the same last name? That's a rare situation, but let's say you run into that. What do? There are 2 authors with the same last name. Include the first initial. So you put the first initial, the last name, and the page number. So let's say you have a Jan Smith and a Albert Smith. For Jan, you would put J period Smith 6. So that's to, recognize that it's J Smith, not A Smith, Albert Smith. If that makes sense. Okay, and then we have a page here specifically about citing the Bible. What do we do? So this would be for our Western Heritage classes. Let me move my little picture up here, guys. There we go. Citing the Bible for Western Heritage. Each version of the Bible varies in translation. There's King James, there's a new translation. So you want to make it clear which version you're usually using. So for your first in-text citation that involves the Bible, follow this format. So you'd say the Bible version, let's say King James Version, the book, which would be the book of, let's say, Genesis, and then the chapter, so that would be the number, and then the verse. So an example is New Jerusalem Bible, Ezekiel, you could abbreviate Ezekiel, and then put the chapter 1, period, and then verses 5 through 10. The Bible's kind of hard to cite, but if you focus on doing this format, I think you'll be good. It's just that there's a lot of chapters, there's a lot of page numbers, so it's important to make sure we're citing it right. For in-text citation of the Bible, follow this format. You'd write the book, the chapter, and the verse. So you wouldn't have to necessarily say what version of the Bible, because it involves the same Bible. So you put Ezekiel chapter 1, verses 5 through 10. And you'd put that in parentheses after the sentence. Hang in there with me. Here we go. Formatting works cited. So on a separate, at the end of your essay, at the end of your paper, on a separate page, you'll want to do a works cited page when it comes to MLA formatting. So you could put works cited at the top of the page and hang indent for every line in the citation after the first. So basically, you want your paper to be organized. You want it to maintain the MLA formatting that we talked about before. You want it to be double-spaced. You want it to be New Times Roman, Times New Roman, 12-point font, 1-inch margins. And you want your citations listed alphabetically. Typically, it's going to go by author's last name. And if there is no author that you know of, it would go by title. But you want it alphabetical order. That makes it easier to find things, and for the person, most likely your professor, reading the page, to find your sources that way. Okay, so here's an example of a works cited page. So in the first one, we notice that there's no, no specific author name. No one person given credit for it. So business coalition, that's the first part. The B goes before C, goes before G, so that's listed first. The next one, we have the person, it's an interview with Bill Clinton, his name, it's C, so that would go after B. Then we have global warming, there's no necessarily one author for that, so it's the title, global warming, G, and then the last name, Gowdy, for John Gowdy. So that is BCGG, and it's alphabetical order, and that's from Purdue's online writing lab. Okay, when it comes to articles, printed articles, if it's a journal article, newspaper article, magazine article, it varies for which one you're talking about, but this is the general rule of thumb for these. And we do have we have brochures with this in the Writing Center that you can come and grab and use while you're writing your paper. So journal articles, you guys can read this here, or pause the video if you need this specific, point. But it would be last name, first name, the title, that you'd want to include the volume and the issue, page numbers, all that stuff. Newspaper, same sort of thing, but it is a newspaper, so it's a little different. You'd put the date, the edition, the section title, things like that. Magazine, similar, the date, the page numbers, the medium. So it really depends on what type of article it is. You can pause this part in the video if you need it. Again, we have brochures for this stuff in the Writing Center. All right, guys, hang in there with me. Sometimes this doesn't want to. Here we go, books. I think this is where we're at. Okay, books, printed books. If you have books by one author and you're setting it in MLA format, you'd put the author's last name, the author's first name, the title in italics, and the city, publisher, year, medium. Typically, I don't really see mediums, like what kind of book it is, but yes. If there's multiple authors, you do the last name, first name, last name, first name, last name. So it's kind of weird, but again, pause this part in the video if you need this. Again, we have brochures on this in the Writing Center. Yes, and I remember last few slides ago we talked about, okay, what do you do if there's 3 or more authors? Same kind of thing here. You can see last name, first name, the ETAL dot. That's what you do if there's multiple, like we talked about before. Okay, online sources. I know Carthage Library has a lot of online articles from really good databases when it comes to research. I've used them before. So let's say you're citing one of those. Typically, they have like a feature tool that you can you pick what kind of like format you want, whether it's MLA, APA, but it actually gives you that. So if it's online, you should be able to find that. Even if let's say it's a book online on Carthage's database, you should be able to just copy and paste it when you pick which kind of format you want. But let's get the journal article. Same thing, you could find this and pause here. Online article, very similar thing. But usually with Carthage Library's database, it will give you these automatically and have them made for you when you find the book or article that you're reading. And you find it, you can copy and paste it. That's what I always do. All right, hang in there with me, guys. Very complicated to turn the page. Sorry about that. Okay. Okay, so if we were giving this presentation in a classroom and a professor invited us in, we'd typically play this Citation Relay. We're not going to do that since this is an online video, but it's basically practice to cite right, getting practice to cite our sources, and it's like a little competition. So we're not going to do that. Are there any questions? I know you guys can't talk back to me since this is a YouTube video, but if you would like, you can comment and leave comments in the comment section of this video, and we will answer them. Or you could stop in, make a writing center appointment, or you could stop in the writing center. Okay, citation guides for the game. So this again has to do with the game, but these are all reviews of what we went through before. And then where we got the stuff from this presentation, Purdue OWL, really, really great source. Let's say you don't want to go through this video again and it's, Purdue OWL, really great source for this stuff. Modern Language Association, you can just go straight to the MLA format website and it'll give you everything that they want. Or Princeton University has a really good MLA formatting resources. Or best of all, you can visit the Writing Center. We'll love to help you out. Works Cited. This is our Works Cited page. So we got all this information from Princeton University, and since there's only one here, there's no alphabetical order needed. But yes, this is where we got our source from. So here's another real life example of citing your sources. But anyways, this is the end of the video. Feel free to rewatch it or pause. You can make a writing center appointment with us. We're also doing online sessions right now due to the COVID-19. What else? We listed some sources at the end for you guys to use. We have brochures in the writing center. We want to help you out. MLA isn't the funnest, but we are here to help. Please comment any questions down in the bottom after this video. And I hope this really helped you guys. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening to me banter. And yes, I hope you guys all have a great day. Thank you.